right, I am going to welcome everybody and call the meeting to order and ask people to rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, I am going to make a motion that to add under 7B, under discussion items, a discussion about invest in Michigan kids. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
I heard Sarah. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Do we have any citizens in the audience that would like to address the board? Okay, moving on. Celebration. Yeah.
Good evening, board members, and welcome to our last meeting of 2025, and also a meeting that might be the most expensive in the history of our district, so depending on how you vote later on. Also want to say thank you for the card. That was very nice of all of you. I appreciate it. Celebrations for this evening. One website story that we posted was on our middle and elementary robotics teams. Both competed in their regional events. I guess that's about 2 weekends ago, maybe now, or 3. And it's really, they've done a great job in really growing the base of that program that will feed into the high school team whose season starts just around now, actually, and will conclude just around spring break. Elementary has expanded to 2 teams over the last several years just due to the amount of interest. Sean Ferguson's still coaching both of those teams and doing a great job. And then Jay Dittman has taken over the middle school the last several years and has really expanded that group. I think he had something like 16 6th graders this year, plus some of his 7th and 8th graders, which is really good. The kids literally race over from the middle school, like they're really motivated to get over to the high school. I've been over there when they kind of barge through the doors, and who's ever first is like bragging they got there the quickest. So the kids are super motivated to get there, and they did really well. They placed at almost at the top of their league or at their regional, and just barely missed by just a couple points qualifying for states, which is not bad considering that the middle school program took a hiatus during COVID. It's really only been back a few years. So Coach Dittman's doing a great job, a lot of kids involved, and obviously that'll lead to supporting the high school team down the road. I also want to congratulate all our athletes, coaches, and parents for fall sports, which were very successful, and Mr. Polson, I'll talk more about those here in a little bit. And lastly, just want to wish our members of the board and our staff, students, and our entire community a very happy holiday season. That is it for celebrations this evening, pending any questions.
Any questions for Adam? All right, next, educational update, our Paige Wilson.
Good evening, everyone. Does this work, or are you hitting it again?
Did earlier, we'll find out.
Evidently not.
Whatever way you think you should push it the other way.
I can both met at the same time. Maybe there's a.
I don't know. We tried.
All right. I gave it an
Dave
effort.
will do it for you.
Yeah, I
All
got you.
right, perfect. Sorry. I had a list of things I screw up.
Adam wasn't doing it either, but like 10 minutes ago, so you're fine. You're fine.
As Adam said earlier, we had an amazing fall season. Just the amount of championships and participation. It was just a great way to kick off the school year. And obviously, we'd hope to continue it into the rest of our seasons, but the focus on fall sports, but our coaches, our kids, it was a great season, and actually probably one of the greatest weather outdoor seasons we get asked for when it comes to fall sports. We got lucky, so if we get hammered this winter, that's why. We got rid of all the good weather in the fall. So if you're hitting the slides, thank you. Girls cross country. There were 10 girls. We finished third in conference in a very difficult conference for our area, but we qualified for Team State, which was actually quite a accomplishment given our regional placement. We had a couple runners run a little bit better than expected, and that's the name of the game when it comes down that time. So they got to take another trip to Brooklyn Motor Speedway and compete in state finals. So that was a great accomplishment for our girls cross country team. Boys cross country, they took first place in conference with our 15 boys this year. That's back-to-back conference CAC red titles, and then their regional placement had, I believe, 3 of the top few teams in that region. So they had a tough task. Did not qualify for state, but we had 3 of our 5 runners qualify, which is quite amazing without the team qualifying. So that just shows how hard it was. But 3 state qualifiers and a conference title for the boys team. So another great season and championship for fall sports. Girls golf, we had 14 girls out. Our participation has been quite strong. We did have a JV team as well. We finished third in our conference, and we had 1 state qualifier. Our participation was up. We had some younger kids and looking to build on some of those extra spots that obviously are an important factor when we're trying to qualify for state and make sure that our scores are consistent with teams in the area, and building out a stronger roster or larger roster, and making sure that we can get to enough JV and varsity events, given they're all take place during the week. So you're managing tests, you're managing missed school days. So we're trying to make sure we have enough kids that it doesn't affect schoolwork, but also still staying competitive within our league and our region. Boys tennis, we had 20 kids out, so that was not quite a full JV team, but we did play in a lot of JV events where we were able to plug in some kids that may not have gotten other events under their belt. We finished second in our conference, but we were regional champions, which we got to host this year on our new tennis courts. For those of you who attended the ribbon cutting ceremony, it was a nice little day to open up the new tennis courts. We've got numerous compliments on the facility. It is a excellent venue. I'm looking forward to stepping out there this spring and not seeing 5 extra new cracks that have started from the net to the fence. So that'll be a nice thing to see. But no, it was great. The first one we've hosted in a while and become regional champions at home was great. And then obviously that sent us on to as a team state qualifier. So it was a great year for boys tennis as well. And a great farewell to Coach Bowen, who left us to go pursue a different career. He's down in college right now, or down in the chiropractor school. So he moved on, but it was a great way to see him out, as he did a great job for us for 3 years. Boys soccer, we had 42 kids out. That was 2 teams. We finished third in conference. We lost in district semifinals. Tough district we had this year with the likes of Lansing Catholic in our district as well, who went on to win the region at Williamston. We hosted both district and regional soccer. It was a great year. We had a good mix. We have a lot of younger kids coming up, so Coach Kurth is looking forward to getting us back to being prominent in the district. But a lot of good things came out of this year. It was a good gap year from losing such a large senior class last year. I thought we fared fairly well. As he would say, for what we had and trying to build leaders throughout the year, we definitely finished where we should have, and we should be proud of what we accomplished this year for boys soccer. Volleyball, we had 3 teams with 36 kids, 2 new coaches this year at the JV and freshman level. We did, since our move to the Red, this was our first conference title in the Red. If you know much about the CAC Red Volleyball, that has been dominated by St. John's and Mason for I don't know how long, but quite a while. And so now we are added to the mix of teams that can win the CAC Red. So Coach Conklin did a great job, and then we won a district title as well too at Hazlet against Lansing Catholic, which is always, makes it a little bit nicer for us here in Williamston being their rivals. So it was a great season. Battled in the regional semifinal. Just kind of, we get to that point. It takes a little bit of luck too, and we just didn't have it that night. But it was a great season for our girls and a fun year for volleyball. Football was one of the arguably best seasons that the team has had, an undefeated season. It didn't end up in a trip to the semifinals or Ford Field, but when you have 3 of the top 4 teams and 3 of the top 3 teams that you'd have to run through to get to the semifinals, at some point it's going to be a little difficult road with us having Goodrich and Harper Woods just in the mix. It was going to be a battle either way. Unfortunately, we lost in the regional semifinal in the regional final to Goodrich, who ended up actually losing the next day to the eventual state champs of Mount Child. But nonetheless, a great season, undefeated, outright title in the CAC Red, and hosted 3 of our playoff games at home, which means our points were one of the highest in Division 4. So great year. Kids did an amazing job, coaching staff. It was if you were able to make it out to the end of the night, stands were packed always. It was just a great atmosphere. Band, cheerleaders, student section. It was a really exciting year for Friday night football, which has become quite the community event. So we were excited that we got to extend it by 3-day games, and again, the weather cooperated fully, and that just made it that much better for everybody who had to stand out there and enjoy. Girls swim and dive, fantastic year. After just kind of every once in a while sending somebody to state, we were able to get 4 state qualifiers, and amongst the 4 state qualifiers, we had a lot of individual events, but we also had a few relays, and so that was a big achievement for our group. We competed in Michigan, which is the team state swim meet. We got to compete in that this year, got invited to that. We finished first in our conference with our 12 girls. We also co-op with Lansing Christian, so that's a combined group. They sent over 3 this year, but just a great group, some strong swimmers, and we're on the younger side of things. So we're looking forward to another great couple of years with the group and Coach Stewart building on what we accomplished this year. And then sideline cheer, we had 15 girls, which is each year. Last 3 years, we've kind of jumped up in participation, so it was great to see that we're still building our sideline cheer program, and it's interactive in the games. If you're there, they do a great job. It just adds to the entire event. So it's great to see that we're still getting kids out and being involved in that sport. Esports, Coach Gibson, this is his first year. He had 15 kids come out. We had 1 playoff team and 1 individual qualifier for their playoffs in their various sports. They are kind of building on and seeing what new games, what new avenues we can pursue coming into the spring / end of the year season. It has been one of the best things, I think, and I say to everybody, I wish the state would add a sport. It's just been so great for some of our kids who don't have opportunities to compete in a variety of other sports. This is just another outlet that it really, it's a competitive atmosphere that kids can enjoy, grow, and still get some of that team aspect in a situation that people don't think of as normal sports. So I hope one day the state takes it serious, that it becomes a sport, because it is something that just it hits a group in a dynamic that we just don't focus on much. We add the other sports they try to add. You have to take groups of other people, and these are our esports kids typically haven't played a lot of other sports, and so this is just a great way to up our participation and provide an outlet for some kids in a competitive way with the school. It's kind of just the trends over the, since 2022. Stayed pretty consistent, especially a group our size. Obviously, there's a couple of anomalies here and there depending on class sizes, but I would say we were fairly consistent with our numbers across the board, given our size of school and the divisions that we compete in. I think we fare very well in that of getting our athletic participation across the board and across each season, keeping it towards the top and keeping it consistent with our groups. Winter sports, luckily this year we kind of just went right into winter sports and glossed over the downtime with the success that our fall sports had. So we're already off and running. Actually, I think tonight our last team, well, swim starts this week, but then girls basketball is also playing tonight, so that would be everybody having events. But boys swim and dive has 10 kids out right now. Boys basketball has 35 with 3 teams. Girls basketball has 21 girls out with 2 teams. Wrestling has 23 girls, and we have 23 kids. We have 1 girl that compete in separate girls events and the girls postseason. Our hockey co-op is 3 kids that we share. DeWitt is the host, and then our gymnastics co-op, which Hazlitt is the host. We have 3 girls out, and that's kind of a breakdown of winter sports as they just got rolling. Any questions on fall sports or anything that's in the hearts and minds of everyone?
Hearts and minds. Oh, I wouldn't open that door. I do have a question, and I know this comes up quite a bit, and I'm just wondering if there's been any discussion. I know Adam has shared his thoughts, but you know, when you go to any of these state competitions and the majority of the teams are private schools, is MHSA, like, any talk about splitting that? Public school can go to states and private schools, or like?
What was Adam's thoughts? So I don't.
Adam's.
No, I believe because it's very, it's on the tip of a lot of people's tongues. What they can, how they can do it without having any sort of legal liability. I find that very hard in this day and age to do that. I mean, they are a private, a nonprofit company, and I can imagine that would face numerous legal challenges to change something to that magnitude. And I don't believe that's an undertaking that they might be financially ready to undertake. They have a lot of statistics to support the status quo. You can take those for whatever you want. I just think it's a little, though I think everybody sees the glaring inequities, I don't know where, I don't think there's a great answer or path forward that would be able to, you know, that they'd be able to stand behind.
Statistics are pretty easy to understand. There's 86% of their members are public schools, so anytime you have 86%, less than 86% of your champions in a given sport, there's an inequity, right? Because you would think over the years you'd have 86% of your champions would be public and 14% would be private. I got the breakdown, you know, if you're interested in coming in and looking at it, and yeah, it's not 86%. And I think the issues are, I mean, there's a lot of different solutions about freezing transfers between schools at a certain age, especially coming out of middle school. You can look at adding divisions, which I think would actually hurt us. There's a multiplier, which is kind of my preferred option, where you take a private school enrollment and multiply it by a given percentage, and then that might move that school up into a higher division during the playoffs. But as Paige noted, any of those solutions are going to be met with lawsuits. Typically private schools and their families have a lot of resources, and so whether MHSA wants to take that on legally is, I think, the question that they're going to have to decide. But obviously that's above something that we can determine locally, although I'm always happy to talk about it with whoever wants to talk about it.
Comes up quite a bit in football.
Right.
There was
Absolutely.
8% of the football playoff football teams were private.
Absolutely.
They won, you know, a lot more than 8%.
Well, and I think it's just, I mean, with the, what is are the initials? INL in college, LNI, whatever, where players can be paid. I mean, an average, this is my soapbox, because I just, I have lots of thoughts about this, but I think we are gonna see, I mean, colleges are getting paid. Or athletes are getting paid. An average football player on a college team, like Indiana, who just won, they're paying their players 1.2 million a year. So you're gonna have parents that are gonna be like, where are we gonna go? Where our kid is gonna get the best, not education, athletic ability to, get paid. And I think that's just another thing that could hurt public schools or just anyone around. So I think the conversation, I don't know if the conversation will ever get real, but I think it's gonna be an issue.
I think the big thing that I try to emphasize sometimes when I get a chance to talk with the teams, and I think what we want to keep in context is the biggest takeaway of high school sports is the experience, the opportunity to compete with your friends and in your community and represent your community in athletics, and those are memories that those kids will have with them the rest of their lives, and we want that to be a good experience for them here in Williamston. And so the wins and losses piece is obviously something, and I think this is a very important topic, especially when you have people that invest so much into youth programs and our high school programs here in Williamston. But I think at the end of the day, what's the most important thing is ensuring that our student athletes have a positive experience and something they can look back at 10, 20 years and still think fondly of, which I think we do a good job of here. But I know we want to win as well, and we'll kind of keep the conversation going to the extent that we can influence it with MHSAA. I also want to point out too, Paige didn't bring it up, but just remember that there's 2 schools that recently joined the CAAC that I can never remember, but taking those 2 out of the equation, and the whole CAAC, right, so the 3 divisions, blue, red, and white, other than Lansing Catholic, we're the smallest school. If you take those other ones, I can't remember those other 2 that were recent heads. So we compete so far above what you might expect. And so when you're winning all these conference championships in an athletic conference where the next smallest high school has 700 plus more students than we do, that's the next smallest one. It's pretty impressive. So it says a lot about the resources the community has bestowed, the athletic programs, Paige's leadership, our coaches, our community investment, and obviously the dedication of our students to ensure that they're getting those kind of outcomes.
I also think it's nice that we have such community. I remember we had a superintendent that always said, the school is the community is the school. Like, we don't have a big, what is it? We don't have a big, I can't think of the word, like industry here. Like GM isn't in our back door like that. And so the community comes out for that stuff. And I always think that's nice to see. It's kind of hard to perform when you have empty stands and no one cheering you on. So that's a plus to you. But thank you for all you do. You're pretty busy, so we appreciate it.
It's enjoyable. Most days.
Any other questions for Paige? All right, moving on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paige.
Superintendent report.
Just briefly tonight, upcoming items. We have 1 remaining committee meeting for the school year. That's policy next week on the 15th. And flipping to 2026, that'll start off with the board's organizational meeting on January 12th. As far as bond updates, Andrew Dobbs is here from Crispin, so he'll talk later about the items that are right in front of us this evening. Otherwise, softball continues to be on pace. We have a traffic study going as part of the Explore projects. If you see kind of those, I don't know what they are, cameras or something they got attached to some of the signs around on Church and Highland, that's what's going on there. But otherwise, I'll save the other news till later in the meeting unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Adam? We do not have any board committee reports. We have a couple of discussion items. The first one, we have a probationary, I'm not saying that right.
Yeah,
A probationary teacher. I mean, I do, again, I say this every time I see these memos with these teachers, this really helps us to give the synopsises that the principals give, that is incredibly helpful. If there's any general questions about this, if there's more specific questions, you're gonna need to ask those to Adam, because we do have some professional confidentiality things. So if you have anything general, you can ask Adam, or if Adam, if there's anything you wanna add.
No, I support the recommendation as presented.
All right, so we will move this to a vote in January. Again, if you have specific questions, please get with Adam for that. The next discussion item, Invest in Michigan Kids. This is something that I added back in October. We got an email that I believe was forwarded to all of you from a board member in East Lansing, and I reached out and had more of a discussion with her. So this is a program, it's Invest in Michigan Kids, and this group is looking to get the Michigan, the November 2026 ballot. They would like to get an initiative on the ballot for us to vote on that basically would make, it would be a change to our state constitution that would make anyone who, an individual who makes over $500,000 or a couple who makes over $1 million, pay an extra kind of, it's like it's not quite 1% or it's 0.8% more in income tax. So that money then would go directly to Michigan. It doesn't specifically say, I mean, it says public schools, but when I pressed her on that question, she really she didn't give me a yes or no. So what she would like us to do, if any of you would like to help get signatures, they need at least 700,000. They're looking at getting 900,000 because you have to go through a process if someone's signature is not readable or right or whatever. So they need to shoot for over what they need. She would like boards to put out a resolution in support of this. I totally support this. If we can get extra money for schools, great. Do I think this is going to solve all of our economic issues in our school system in the state of Michigan? No. And I don't believe that. That's my personal belief. I also think school finance is difficult for other people to understand, so I worry of how it looks if someone is understanding it, like, well, why are Michigan schools having trouble? You said that this would, you're getting all that extra money from all those really rich people and you should be fine. And I just don't, anything extra would help. As Adam and I were talking today, the problem is there's nothing in our state constitution to say that this would be extra. I also worry that say, and I'm just using round numbers, say with all the money they bring in, that each kid gets an extra $1,000. Well, are they gonna give us that $1,000 on top of what all the foundation allowance is already, or are they gonna take $1,000 out of that pot and because we have this pot? So I feel like there's a lot of questions with that and how this comes up. She was able to answer some of my questions, not all of them. Also having a unique relationship with a tax accountant. He says, yeah, it's a great idea and you can support it. This did happen in Massachusetts and they did not get as much money. People who are making that much money know how to kind of go around those things, and there's ways to do that. So I did ask her, where did you get the numbers of, they're projecting $1 billion would go into the school aid fund. I don't know where that came from. She couldn't tell me. So I guess I wanna know what your thoughts are, if you wanna do a little bit more research on it, maybe talk to this woman, if you would like to put a resolution out there, we can all say we support it, we can even get some of the petitions and, I don't know, I can go to staff meetings and have teachers sign it to help them out with this. My personal feeling is I just feel like we have to tread lightly, because I know people are gonna think, oh, this is gonna, fund our schools, and we're gonna be, like, I'm gonna get anything and everything I want, because this is gonna fix that, and that's my personal thing, is it's not gonna fix that, so.
I think the biggest, stop go for me would be if this only goes to public schools, because that would be, if it goes to charter schools, private schools, then that's kind of a stop.
She said it was, she said, well, no, it's public schools, but,
I'd like that confirmation
Yeah,
before
I don't
I would
know.
go and move forward, and I can, if you give me her information, I can contact her, or you can go back with that question.
and I'm not sure, once the money comes in, it goes to the state. I don't know, it's not like it's going into a side,
Right.
group. Like, it's not like there's some big,
And like you said,
Jeff
with that,
Bales who's,
yeah,
doing this on the side, who's then gonna divvy it up himself, or however. The money will then go to the state, and they will be the ones.
so then it would go
So-
into kind of like the state general fund, where they could say, oh, well, you got this money, so then we don't need to keep putting more
Right.
funding into Michigan schools.
Yeah, there's no, and I don't know how we can, when I pulled up the Invest in Michigan Kids, the change to the constitution that they want, the wording was kind of funky a little bit, so there was to me, it didn't seem like there was any guarantee that this would be an add-on. It just would be used for public schools, or it didn't even say public schools, it would be used for Michigan schools. Might have said public.
So they want 900,000 signatures, and they want to be on the ballot by November, so they would need their signatures by when?
That I don't know, I can't remember. I thought she said July.
Probably.
I thought there was a July or August date to that, because they have to go through all of them to make sure they have enough.
I would worry that if something like that passed, that locally people would say, why should we pass a bond issue? You've got all that money.
Right.
That's
what,
I was thinking.
and I do remember when so lottery money goes to the school, and I remember being a kid, I wasn't that young, but when that kind of was happening, and it was like that miscommunication, and you did get a lot of people who were like, well, you get all that money from the lottery. Well, when you divide up all the schools and have to then take out all the administration fees, we're not getting a massive pot of money. That's a good point about the bond stuff too. I just think there's gonna be kind of misinformation. I've talked to some board presidents who, just did the resolution, no big deal, whatever. Others have the same hesitation that I do. Like, they'll support it during a meeting, they talked about it, and, support it during a meeting, and, sign a petition if someone gives them one, but they're not willing to really,
But they don't say how it could be used either, do they? Do they say it's gonna be a per pupil allocation, or are they saying the schools could use it?
It's up to the state. The state gets to determine how it's
State
going
would
to be used.
determine that?
yeah, I don't know, she said, in her email, she just, they're throwing things out like, oh, well, you have more money to reduce your class sizes, retain and recruit educators, curriculum, it would just be extra money, but I don't know how,
Would it be the same money per school? Or would Williamston get less than another surrounding district?
her understanding was that it would be like a kind of a, not per school, but per pupil. So like if we have, 1,900 kids, we're gonna get money for 1,900 kids. If you have 3,000 kids, you're gonna get money for 3,000 kids. So, but she, again, when I was asking her kind of specific questions
Yeah.
so are they gonna take the pot divided by the kids and each kid gets that same amount? Are they divided, and will low-income schools get something more? Will more schools get, I did not feel I was really getting like straight answers, like I feel like
Is
I
there
was
a
like
web-
kinda,
Is there a website that this would be on, or just look up
I have,
invest in MI?
well, it's under investinmichigankids.org,
Okay.
and, but it was an email we got, I can give
Oh,
this and
okay.
you can
No, that's like
contact
that.
her. She said she reached out to ISOA members.
It had to
She's a
have been
volunteer,
online.
this is from the Michigan Education Justice Coalition, who is kind of spearheading this. I mean, they have there is some representatives that are kind of also helping spearhead this.
I don't recall a conversation or discussion at ISOA, but that doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yeah, her name is, it's T-A-L-I, can't remember if she said Tally, but she works in public relations. So I can hand this to you.
Adam, has there been any conversation between the superintendents on this?
Nothing.
No?
Was there any discussion about it being political? Because it seems like people of that income bracket tend to be of a political party too, and I don't think it's,
Well, it is,
we don't
I
want to be
mean,
political.
there were some, I did talk to a board president on the west side of the state, and they said, oh, that's way too political for us, we're not going down that road, which I get. But yet I don't wanna say that either, like, that's too political and we're not gonna support money for kids. Like, I don't wanna do that either. But anytime we're gonna get money, I think it's a positive thing. Great. I just don't see it, I just worry that it's not gonna be something extra, that it could be something to replace what we are, like. So we're gonna take, if we get $1 billion from this, will they take $1 billion out of the school aid fund to do this?
I mean, my biggest concern is what Deborah said, is what is the impact for when we do need to go back to the well to re-up the bonds that we have, re-up the recreation millage, re-up the, those type of things. If part of the community is impacted by this other piece, they may automatically say, I'm not giving more, you're already getting more.
Right, or if they're hearing it and just assuming, I mean, I feel like we're over the hump, but when we did the recreation millage, I think everybody just thought, well, that means anyone and everyone can use our gyms and facilities at any time, at any point, because we pay those taxes and that's what that money goes to. I mean, it just kind of, the misinformation around it sometimes is hard then to, like, combat. So thoughts, do you wanna think on this? Let me, I guess, call me.
We need more information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to research it.
I think that individually we need to get some questions.
Yeah, so I would, look into it. If you want to do some type of resolution, I guess, let me know.
Is it an opt-in, like you have to opt in?
No, it's nothing. I don't wanna say that resolutions really are like, it's just saying that we as a board support it as a whole. I don't know what, we would make a resolution saying we'd support it, we'd vote on it, and it, like, sit in board book. Like, she did ask me to get back to her if we were gonna do a resolution. My guess is they would just count us in a number of schools that are gonna do that, but it
Probably use it for PR.
yeah, like,
Well, it says here that it could go to higher education as well. There shall be established a state school aid fund which shall be used exclusively for aid to school districts, higher education, and school employees' retirement system as provided by law. So it doesn't just go, and it doesn't specify that it's public schools.
yeah,
This is what their initiative
what did I
petition
say?
says.
So, I feel like if they do raise $1 billion, we're getting a very small amount of it. If we get.
Like you said, anything is great, but again, there's, you
Did
know
it say,
exactly
did you
what
say
it
it's also said that it was going to the Michigan teacher retirement
Yes.
system?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's gonna be as much as what they think it's gonna be. So, I guess, think about it, read about it, if it's something you wanna do, let me know. Otherwise, I mean, I said that I could get some signature pages and have people
Yeah.
sign them and get them back to her. I would be willing to do that. I'm not gonna stand outside a basketball game though, it's too cold and I'm too old, so if any of you wanna do that, I would get in touch with her, but. All right, anything else about that, or we can kind of wait and see? All right. Action items, can I please have a motion to approve our minutes from our last meeting?
Move that the Williamston Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on November 17th, 2025 as presented.
Second.
So I have a first, Dave, was that second, Sarah, Heather? You two are very quiet over there. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I should have asked if there was any other discussion. Was there any other discussion? I can go back if I need to, sorry. We have some roll call votes. Can I please have a motion for the 31 AA resolution opt-in?
Whereas Public Act 15 of 2025 amends State School Aid Act, Section 31AA, MCL 388.163(1) AA, to allocate funding for fiscal year 2025-26 to support school safety and student mental health initiatives, as well as to provide certain competitive grant funding, 31AA funding, and to receive 31AA funding, the district must agree to receive the funding in the form and manner established by the Michigan Department of Education, MDE, and either formally opt in or seek a competitive grant. And 3, as a condition of receiving either type of 31AA funding, the district must agree in advance that in the event of a mass casualty event, as defined in MCL 388.163(1) AA, 1, the district will be subject to and comply with a comprehensive investigation following such an event, and 2, the district will waive any privilege that may otherwise protect related information from disclosure, and 4, litigation challenging the legality and enforceability of the privilege waiver requirement is currently pending, and 5, the opt-in deadline for 31AA funding is currently December 4th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m., and it may be subject to further extension, the opt-in deadline. And 6, the litigation parties have stipulated that a district may later rescind its opt-in by providing notice to MDE no later than December 30th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m., as may be subject to further extension, the rescission deadline, in the form and manner established by the MDE. And 7, the board has been fully advised of the legal and practical implications of the privilege waiver requirement, including its potential effect on attorney-client privilege and other applicable privileges. And 8, the board desires to preserve the district's eligibility for 31AA funding while avoiding any present waiver of privilege and while allowing time for the courts to determine the legality and enforceability of the privilege waiver requirement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that 1, the board hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools or designee to submit the district's opt-in form to MDE on or before the opt-in deadline, solely for the purpose of preserving the district's eligibility for 31AA funding, and only on a conditional basis as provided in this resolution. Submission of the opt-in form shall not constitute a present waiver of the attorney-client privilege or any other privilege. 2, the district's conditional opt-in shall be automatically rescinded without further action of the board unless on or before the rescission deadline, A, the legislature removes, substantially amends, or otherwise eliminates the privilege waiver requirement, such that acceptance of 31AA funding would not require waiver of attorney-client privilege or any other applicable privilege, or B, a court of competent jurisdiction rules that the privilege waiver requirement is unlawful, unenforceable, or otherwise not applicable to the district. If either A nor B occurs by the rescission deadline, the superintendent of schools or designee shall notify MDE in the form and manner required by MDE, and no later than the rescission deadline that the district's opt-in is rescinded. 3, if the privilege waiver requirement remains in effect and enforceable as the rescission deadline, the superintendent of schools or designee shall have no authority or obligation to accept 31AA funding. 4, nothing in this resolution shall be construed as a waiver of the attorney-client privilege or any other applicable privilege. 5, the district's participation in the opt-in or rescission process shall not be construed as a waiver of the board's or district's right to challenge the legality or enforceability of any condition imposed by MCL 388.1631AA or related administrative guidance. 6, if after the rescission deadline the privilege waiver requirement is removed, amended, or invalidated, the board may take further action as it deems appropriate to pursue 31AA funding consistent with applicable law. 7, this resolution does not apply to any mass casualty event occurring prior to the opt-in deadline. 8, all resolutions and parts of resolutions insofar as they conflict with the provisions of this resolution, B and the same, are hereby rescinded.
Second.
Okay, I'm sorry, who seconded that? Deb? Amanda, can you take us through roll call, please? Or, before you do that, I'm so sorry, is there any other discussion? Okay, Amanda, can you take us through roll call, please?
Amanda, yes. Chris?
Yes?
Dave?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And Nancy.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next we have the high school and middle school flooring bids. So again, this is where we've kind of given them the right, because we hired them to go through the bids and stuff. So if I could have a first, then we'll have some explanation as a discussion, and then we'll do a second in the roll call. So can I have a first motion to approve the high school and middle school flooring bids?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education award contracts as recommended by the Chrisman Company to replace flooring in select rooms and corridors throughout the middle school and high school. The cost is not to exceed $337,278 and will be paid using funds from the 2024 bond.
Second?
So I have a first, Dave, a second, Chris, was that you? All right, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so that sums it up pretty well. I think there's roughly 15 classrooms throughout the high school that will be renovated, or throughout the middle school that will be renovating, roughly 20 classrooms throughout the high school. One of the main areas will be renovating right outside here, pulling up the flooring in the cafeteria and replacing that flooring as well. This will all happen the summer of 26. So working with Brandon and I, we just moved some furniture out of these classrooms, take all the flooring out, putting flooring back in, and that'll be all happen for the summer of 26. We had a really good bid day, average of 6 bidders per bid category. Anytime, honestly, we shoot for like 3 is usually a pretty good bid day. So we had 6, we had a lot in the flooring, and as you can see, we came in well under our original estimate. So that's always a good time, and we can save some money and use that for future projects. So overall, recommending Willie Reichenbach for general trades and Sealy Group for flooring contractor.
So is, so is every classroom getting flooring, or just the, did you say 15?
I think it's like 15 classrooms throughout the middle school and like 20 classrooms throughout the high school.
High school.
So I cut the flooring budget almost in half because, as I think the board knows, we have some significant cost overruns in other areas, and so we're trying to recoup money where we can out of some bond projects to shift those funds to being able to do as much as we can with the resources that we have. Bids came in great, as Andrew mentioned, which helps, but we really are focusing on larger spaces that we can really only afford to do when we have a bond. We can go back later and start chipping away at individual classrooms over time out of general funds, you know, a little bit here and a little bit there. And then we also prioritize some rooms where we have like cabinetry that needs to get removed, casework that's very old, and so some of those spaces got prioritized as well. So I think we'll see a nice visible upgrade, but it's not literally every room in both buildings.
I have one more question, that's, okay, so when we did the bids for flooring, and I'm just curious.
Yep.
Did we, pick out the flooring, or is, like, does
Yes.
the bid come with like the cheapest flooring they have, or a middle grade flooring, like
Nope,
how?
flooring is picked out. So they'll, yeah, flooring is like, we'll pick that out beforehand. Adam sat down with them, with the interior designer, and they picked out, yeah, we want this exact make and model. So if you already had this flooring to match, you're gonna match that exact flooring.
So it was picked out and that's what the bids were
Correct,
done?
yes.
Yeah, it was a pretty extensive selection, involved obviously the building principals, and they shared it with a lot of different people as well. So I think we got good quality products that'll last us for a long time.
Nice. Any other questions about flooring? All right, Amanda, can you take us through the roll call, please?
Amanda? Yes. Chris?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And Nancy?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, can I have a motion for the high school parking lot paving bid?
I move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education award a contract as recommended by Chrisman Company to repave existing parking lots on the south side of the high school, including miscellaneous added sidewalks, signage, and drainage. The cost is not to exceed $549,000 and will be paid using funds from the 2024 bond.
Second.
Is that you? So I have a first Deb, second Heather, and I'm gonna turn it over to you again.
Yeah, perfect. So this one is for your parking lots, both parking lots that are on the south side of the high school. So on the very northwest corner, where it kind of goes over to the tennis parking lot, we've got a little bit of drainage work that we have to do there. But the rest, we're pretty much just milling all of the parking lot and then putting all new parking lot back down. So when I say mill it, we're taking all of the asphalt, getting rid of all the asphalt, going down to the subgrade. And then we'll put new asphalt back in. We are adding a little bit of sidewalks to make it a little bit easier of an entrance to your main entrance and more user-friendly that way. Overall, we got 6 bids. There's only one category. It's pretty much just all asphalt work with a little bit of, like I said, sidewalk and drainage work. Levitt and Stark is the one that we're recommending. They actually perform all of this. They're not subbing it out to anyone. They perform asphalt, concrete, and earthwork all themselves. This will all be done summer of 26 as well. We'll start on your second day of no summer. Your first day, we're doing a crane lift. If everything goes to plan with the pool pack project. You guys remember we approved that pool pack equipment. The very first day should be a crane lift, so the second days we'll be out there starting. There'll be roughly a month and a half of construction, so hopefully we're done mid-July, end of July. But we will always make sure that you guys have entrance, your community has entrance to your community center main entrance. So that was a big part we put in the bid as well, that they can park somewhere, probably over at the tennis parking lot. We'll make sure there's a correct path there, a safe path for them to walk to the building at all times.
Nice.
So in all, recommending Levitt and Stark for that project.
Any questions about?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't recall hearing anything about the drainage. Is that creating infrastructure, or might it be creating like a catch basin or retainage?
No, it is, it's, you already have catch basins out there. We're gonna add a little bit of drainage and connect to the catch basin.
Okay.
In the very northwest corner, so right where that intersection is at, that's where you've got the most cracks. And so we're gonna put some, like down below the asphalt, we're gonna dig down and we'll put some drainage basically in there that if it does water and water gets down there, it'll absorb that water and take it and
Okay.
give it away, so it's not just sitting there. And that's what creates the soft ground underneath, basically. Yep.
Good question.
Any other questions? All right, Heather, or Amanda, will you take us through roll call, please?
Amanda, yes. Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
and Nancy.
Yes.
Motion's unanimous.
Okay, and our last one, can I have a motion for the new Explorer Elementary?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education award contracts as recommended by the Chrisman Company to build a new 39,667 square foot addition on Explorer Elementary consisting of 18 classrooms, gymnasium, main office, bathrooms, and associated spaces. The cost is not to exceed $18,141,377 and will be paid by using funds from the 2024 bond.
Second.
I heard Deb, so I'm gonna go with Deb. This is probably the
We're
most
all
exciting.
excited, yeah.
Yeah, this probably is the most exciting one we have.
Yeah, so definitely totally understand. It was a long bid day. We had great results. We had 65 bidders. It probably took us an hour and a half just to go through all the bids and read all the bids. It takes a while. So we had 17 categories, work categories is what I call them, like general trades, electrician, plumbers, things like that. 17 work categories. Like I said, there were 65 bidders, so just under 4 bids per category. So we had great coverage. That's kudos to my PE Ethan, who made a lot of phone calls to make sure we had coverage across the board. All in all, the plan is to start as soon as the weather allows, so probably not till like March 1st, somewhere timeline in there, maybe February, hopefully, keep our fingers crossed. But we'll start then as soon as weather allows, and the goal, of course, is to be done to allow you guys to occupy that August 27th. So when school starts fall of 27, that's when you guys should be able to use that new space. So 16-month schedule, somewhere around in there. Overall, we've worked with a lot of these contractors. We post-bid interview, just for you guys' reference, every low bidder and every second low bidder. So if there's, 17 categories, there's 34 interviews that we did, and each interview is anywhere from like 45 minutes to an hour. We go through in depth on these people to make sure that not just do they understand the project, but financially, are they capable? Are they a safe contractor as well? Because I reiterated the heck out of the fact that we are on an occupied campus. We are right next to houses that are right there. So not only on the safety of our contractors is important, but the safety of our children is more important, just as important. They're both important. But that was a big thing that we wanted to make sure as well, that they fully understood and comprehended that as well. So, yeah, these are the 17 bidders that we are recommending for award.
So are these costs like locked in?
Yes, these costs
Are like,
are 100% locked in. They own, as soon as they sign that contract, they own everything that's on contract documents, which is the drawings, the specifications, and my project manual, which is basically the scopes. So they own everything that's in there. That's not to say that we can't change things and do change orders.
but it's,
But this is exactly, yes, you are getting that building for the 18 million for the contractors.
yeah, 18,000.
Yeah.
I also would like to just look at how much the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical is costing us, and I think we are all in the wrong business.
MEP is
That
usually,
might be what I do in my retirement.
mechanical, electrical, plumbing is usually your most expensive system.
That proves,
Yeah.
like, right there.
Everything above ceiling you don't even see, but there's just so much mechanical, electrical, plumbing up above your head. All the stuff in the boiler room that you don't even think about. A whole bunch of equipment on the roof. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of equipment in these buildings just to make them run that it's not always the top of your mind. But yeah, that, honestly, one of the biggest expenses is the equipment for mechanical systems.
well, this is incredibly exciting for all of us, a long time coming. So we should all celebrate, hear the angels singing or whoever right now as we go through this. Amanda, can you please take us through a roll call?
Amanda, yes. Chris,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
and Nancy.
Yes.
Motion passes
Yay.
Excited.
Very exciting.
Never been so happy to spend $18 million.
$18 million, I don't even know. I know what that's gonna look like, building, a school. I just wanna add, and again, thank every single person. I know this has been a long, I know we're not done, and it's gonna continue to be a really long process, but the amount of time that has been spent in going through all this and the working and putting it all together. I mean, we just get to sit here and kind of see the fun part of it and say yes, and, but there's a lot of people doing work behind the scenes, so I thank all of you for what we've done. We have some separate action items. Can I please have a motion to approve our teacher status changes?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education grant tenure to Kyle Robinson, Kyle Sprague, and Madeline Stewart. Also increase probationary status from year 3 to year 4 for Connor Longendijk. These changes will be effective on the anniversary of their hire dates.
Second.
All right, so I have a first Dave, second Heather. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Can I have a motion for the purchase of 2 school buses?
I move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the purchase of 2 new 2026 IC school buses from Midwest Transit at $142,587 each. The total cost not to exceed $285,174, with monies coming from the Capital Projects Fund.
Second.
So I have a first Deb, second Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nice. 2 new buses on the way. Can I please have a motion for the snow removal equipment?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the purchase of a Kubota F3750 tractor from Deer Creek Sales for a cost not to exceed $39,420. Monies for this project will come from the 2024 bond equipment account.
Second.
Was that Deb? So first Chris, second Deb. I have a question. Is this something that we can get ASAP, like soon?
I think that's the
Great,
intent,
it's-
given the way the winter's looking
I
already.
know, I was like, we ordered that already. Okay.
Good.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, can I please have a motion for the track and football stadium scoreboard?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the purchase of a new scoreboard for the track and football stadium from Nevco for $82,719 and installation from Prince Advertising Company for an estimated $40,000. The total cost is not to exceed $124,000, with monies coming from the Recreation Millage Fund.
Second.
That was you, Heather.
That's me.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Can I please have a motion to go into closed session for negotiations?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education move into closed sessions to discuss negotiations.
Second.
So I have a first Chris, second Deb. Amanda, can you take us through roll call, please?
Amanda? Yes. Chris?
Yes?
Dave?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And Nancy.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, we will be going into closed session.
Yes.
You let me know when we're back.
We're back.
Okay. Can I please have a motion to come out of closed session?
Motion to come out of closed session?
Second.
So I have a first, Chris, second, was that Deb? Any other discussion or no more discussion? Sorry. Amanda, can you take us through roll call, please?
Amanda, yes. Chris?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
And Nancy.
Yes.
Passes unanimously to come out of closed session.
Moving on, we do not have any citizens in the audience anymore, so we don't have any citizen comments. So we're at board member reports and requests. Anything from anybody? Just-
Pancakes with Santa was a great success. I think that was the most people that came through
By
out
far,
of
yeah.
the years
I think
that
they
they've
doubled
done it.
their number this year.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
It's
that's
the
great.
pancakes for Santa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a
It's
great
nice.
event.
We ran out of almost everything.
And you know, some really nice mom lady came up to me and said, "My kids are entertained. Is there anything I can help with?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me go ask." So I go back to the kitchen, and Dave's standing there. I'm like, "There's a really nice lady out there asking if there's anything she needs help with." And Dave's wife is like, "Oh, is that you?" And then I was like, "This is so embarrassing." No. But I mean, I'm standing next to Adam as he's pouring drinks. I once in a while put a lid on, but pathetic. So next year, if you
We
need
had plenty
extra
of
help,
volunteers.
please. But I was like, no, she's just a mom, and how nice. But now I'm embarrassed, but I didn't. But
But all that money goes towards teacher grants and goes right back into the classroom.
Yeah.
So always nice to get a lot of people involved in a great event.
yeah, and those kids were super excited.
Yeah.
I think all of the, I know for me personally, and I don't have kids in school, so I can't imagine how everybody's maneuvering everything that's happening. And I mean, Thanksgiving was late, so we have such a short period of time, and there is stuff going on constantly. And so, but it's exciting. I kind of stepped into the concert last week a little bit and just heard one song and then maneuvered because my car was parked totally illegally. And but it's nice to see, even with so much stuff, people are really coming
There's
out.
middle school band this week too.
Yeah,
So
the
Wednesday.
band is this week. I mean, there's just a lot. So I thank everybody that really is putting in the effort and the time to make all of this go, because it is pretty exciting. Kids were happy. I also have something. I think this is I think I have sat on this board through 3 or 4 board presidents. I think 3 maybe. And they all sat in the seat until their term was up, and then they exited, which made kind of a bumpy transition. Nothing horrid, but it just was a little bumpy. And for me sitting here, it was a learning curve and a little bumpy also. With that being said, my term is up in a year, and I have not decided whether I would be running again. So when I've ran in the past, I just know I was going to, and not a big deal. This time, I just am not sure. You know, I don't have kids. We're kind of making that slide. You know, there was a time where we didn't have anybody that didn't have kids in the district. Now we're sliding to that other side where the majority of us aren't going to have kids in the district. I think one of the only people is Sarah
You
that
can
still
count
has
on me for a
elementary
long
kids.
time there, kidding.
She's in it for the long. Yeah. So I'm just trying to weigh out a lot of things. I have 6 months to make a decision, but right now I don't know what's going to happen. So I do not hate this job. I have time to do it. I think any of us can do it. It's not anything over the top, but I do think, to be fair and to maybe help with that transition, I will be stepping down from this seat in January. So what that will look like, and again, I am not resigning. I am not going anywhere. I just think that, again, for best practice, there should be a little bit of a transition to help that person ease things through, and I will be doing that. That is, I just feel like, again, that's fair. So what that will look like is our next meeting in January. You guys will have to decide what the leadership positions are, who's gonna take those. I will call the meeting to order, we'll do the pledge, I'll ask for a slate, and then whoever's gonna sit in this seat, I will pick my stuff up and move, and that person will move into this seat, and I will set the agenda, and then they will go on, they will carry on this meeting. The president does, I mean, I've always taken kind of your input, but the president does have the I don't know, right to put people on the different committees or how they want committees ran. For example, we had a facility committee at one time and a finance committee. Then we had a board president that got rid of that facility committee. Then we had a board president that brought the facility committee back. And then we had a board president that merged the two, finance and facility. It is not a secret that I hate the facility committee, but I'm totally accepting if the next president wants to put in a facility committee. But, so committee seats probably will not be assigned until after our January meeting because whoever's sitting in the seat gets to do that. And with that also being said, it has been a pleasure working closely with you, Dr. Spina. I feel incredibly honored that I've had that.
Say the same.
Thanks. And each one of you have been a joy. So I have no doubt whoever you choose will do an exceptional job. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, wait, I have another question, not about that, but just, people from, this is a community question. Does anyone know what the new building business is gonna be at the highway? People ask.
It's a
Or-
tailgate.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Gas
It's
Gas
a
station.
Yeah,
tailgate
ask
with a
Adam.
Dunkin' Donut. So it's a gas station.
Greatest thing to happen in Williamston.
That's what I felt like, I should be in the know, people are asking me and I didn't know, so, okay.
Yes, gas station and a Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
Adam has
Adam will
played a big role in that.
We
frequent
might not
every
move
day.
back to Europe. I don't know.
That Dunkin' Donuts. Well, you're not moving back to Europe for another,
Well,
what
yeah,
was
I
that,
got
10 years? I
a
think
while,
that's
yeah.
what you and Vanessa said the
Dates
last time
may
I
vary.
talked to you, right? You're still really young. You got a lot of time left here. Can I please have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So I have a first, Chris, second, Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?